What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Monday doing post-game, Friday doing pre-game. Make sure to check out all the other great shows here on Bucs Report, as there's the show usually here every Monday, Sunday through Saturday, right here on Bucs Report. Check out all the great shows coming today. But first, before we get into everything today, we're going to go into Buccaneers versus Falcons recap. Listen to Bruce Arians and Antonio Brown talk about the post game to the game, what it meant, what happened, strategy, changing the game plan, all that stuff that me and Peter Blake talked about on Sunday. And I'll just recap on some of the things that he said and Brown said, and we'll talk about it back and forth. As always, bring in your comments, bring in all that in there, and I'll talk back and forth. Hopefully we'll hear from Deshaun later. I won't have Allison on, but it's because, of course, the Steelers got to play later today, and we'll hear from her some other time because she always gives great insight. So sit back and relax, and let me hear from our sponsors real quick, and we'll get back right into as we always do. So hang in there.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. .320 Solar. Power up.
And we're back after those short messages. Make sure to check out the Deck Bar and Grill East of Del Sol down there in St. Pete. Great experience. Cedric Robinson in the gang run a great ship, tight ship, and great food. The wings, man, Julio came down there. He was tearing those wings up like he hasn't eaten in weeks. And of course, Peter, he loves wings. Just don't bring him any veggies. And as always, check out the 320 Solar. Go to 320solar.com. Of course, this show is powered by it, as among as the other shows. So let's just get right into it. Bucs win in Bucs fashion. Start off slow, put up 31 points in the second half, all in the second half. 390 basically passing yards in the second half. Falcons do what the Falcons do, give up leads, 17-0 in the first half. Absolutely dominated the Buccaneers in the first half. Well, I wouldn't say dominated. They just took advantage, and the Bucs couldn't get any offense going, and their offense got hot. And they scored points. I just have nothing else to say about that, except in the second half, everything came. Like I said, we'll get. I'll hear from Bruce Arians, and I'll pretty much go into that. Let me get in you guys' comment section real quick. Carlton, what's going on? Will Shaw Woods, great win yesterday, but can we make the playoffs? The 98. I think it's 98%. Will Shaw Worlds, I like that name. WW. Yeah, it's 98% right now. So unless something catastrophic happens, it looks like pretty much a sure shot. We'll see what happens. Usually, Greg Allman is pretty good about putting out what they need to get in next game. So when the Lions see when they clinch, see what they need to do if there's a way that they can clinch the playoffs this coming Saturday against the Lions. So we'll see. We'll keep you updated here on Bucs Report. Will Shaw, especially on my social media. Check me out if you don't follow me on Twitter or whatever. Just go ahead and follow me, and while you can win some of that free stuff I got. Christopher Fall, hey, Bucs fans, it's Victory Monday. Yes, sir. Carlton Cook, yeah, with a really, really soft schedule in the league, adding another spot for the playoffs. Yep. Will Shaw World, yeah. Tim Witherspoon, we only have 99 or 98% chance. Can't remember exactly, but boy, they're about the same. Yep, that's what I'm saying. We'll see when they can officially get the playoff spot coming Saturday. I guess they'll put out the percentage of what they need to win and who needs to. Of course, they got to win, but with other teams that lose or tie or whatever it is for them to actually clinch a spot, we'll find out later. Of course, the Bucs could still win the division if the Saints lose the rest of their games. We'll put the Bucs at 11-5, and we'll put the Saints at 10-6. So the Saints lost to the Chiefs Sunday, so they're on a 2-game losing skid right now, and they couldn't. Drew Brees came back, and they still lost the game. Jameis Winston was on COVID protocol, but it didn't matter anyway. It would have mattered if Brees was still out because they wouldn't have had a backup quarterback at that time. But now Drew Brees is back. And they're on a 2-game losing skid, and they play the Vikings next week. So we'll see what happens. If the Saints lose that game and then they lose it again, Buccaneers could win the division. So we'll see. Let me get in a few more comments, and then we'll hear from Arians. Bucs win or Bears loss, we clinch. Oh, that's been confirmed, Isidore. Post that up somewhere. We need to win and control our own destiny. Absolutely, Deshaun, I agree. Need to win their own games before you worry about others. I heard we clinch with a win Saturday. We'll see. If we win, we're in. That'd be great. Falcons are a bad team, though. We should have had an easier win, though. Very skeptical. And I should have known better. Well, I kind of did. I said, but you can never count out division opponents. You can never count them out because who else knows you better than people in your division? I mean, they know where your strengths and weaknesses are. They watch your draft. They watch everything you do because they're in your division. And I'm sure it's this. It's the same way with the Bucs and other teams. Where the division, except for the Panthers, is pretty much all new this year, and they have more tape on them coming into 2021 season. But they know you're the best, so you should never count anybody out. And Matt Ryan is still a pro quarterback, and as you can see, with given time to throw, he will pick you apart. So let's just get right in. The Vikings love to play spoiler for the Aints, and that would be crazy, right, Tim? So let's hear Bruce Arians, because I'm just going to add stuff, and I'm sure you guys got questions about it. And Arians answers a lot of questions, and we'll also hear from Antonio Brown, and we'll also get into the breaking point, that won the game. So let's hear from Arians and see what he's got to say. So get yourself a drink. I just clipped all the stuff that he's got down, so it's not like a long interview, but I broke down, made it quick so you guys can catch on to it. So check this out.
Oh, definitely. He and Levante, and the Pro Bowl is going to be fun because they're both in the same position, and they could split enough votes to kill both themselves. But they both belong there, that's for sure. And but Devin, he's had a great year, had a great ball game in this game, obviously, and yeah, he is. Levante is the main leader, but he's the rah-rah. He's the let's go get him guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would call them hat and T-shirt games.
Yeah.
This is a hat and T-shirt game. You get a hat and a T-shirt when you're in the playoffs, and so yeah, it's a great feeling for those guys. That was the goal this year. It was to get in the dance, and anything can happen once you're in there, but get ourselves in the dance, and we have that opportunity Sunday. Yeah, it's almost like quit talking about it. Maybe they'll change. You tried to emphasize starting practices, the first periods being the best. You identify tackling and make sure we're breaking down in front of ball carriers and not tagging off and getting in bad position. And we got a third down and 12, and they throw a check down and we miss a tackle, and it leads to a long drive. I mean, the game changes. We make the tackle, and so it's like those little things, they keep adding up, and we've got to find ways to just get out there and get it done, in the first quarter. I think we played a little bit more man, and we played some double coverage. and took away the first option. And then the pass rush started getting home, even against the max protection. And so it was a good adjustment that Todd made and the players made. And it was critical that we get them off the field and get the ball back every single time, because we had to score with every possession. We knew that going into the second half. No, I don't think it was communication at all. It was just poor play. It was poor play. When you know when you have help and you know when you don't, and you got to play proper technique. And it's one thing if you're supposed to be dropping and you rush, that's a problem, especially if they throw a ball in the flat where you're supposed to be dropping to. So no, it wasn't communication. It was just poor play. Yeah, it's always frustrating. I mean, you want to see those guys continue to grow and grow and grow and not lose their stinger, so to say. I thought Jamel Dean probably played one of his best games when he got in there. Russ Cockrell played really, really well. Sean didn't have a bad game. He got beat on that one touchdown, but you can't let the quarterback hold it for 4 seconds and play man to man. It's just not going to. You're not going to cover that guy that long. And so we got to do a better job sometimes with the coverage and the rush and everything melting together. I thought it was fine. When we wanted to run, we were successful. Punched it in twice on the goal line, ran out the clock at the end of the game. In between, it was okay. It was hit and miss, just enough to keep the play action really good. Better. I think Sean can play better. We expect a lot out of him. And, he had some struggles early in the season. I see him coming out of those and playing with more confidence. But again, we expect a lot of things out of him because he has a ton of talent and he can play better.
Is there any update on Carlton Davis today?
No, not yet. There's no doubt. And, I think first halves of ball games, if it's 50-50, I love where we're at. The sense of urgency in the locker room at halftime, it was very calm by him. Yeah. Just let's go make a play. We got the ball. Let's go make a play, and we go down and score. So it lit a fire in the offense. Defensively, I was really disappointed when they answered that with another touchdown. But I think our defense needs to reevaluate themselves a little bit and get back to what we're supposed to be doing and what we're capable of doing. Yes and no. I mean, a lot of thought goes into picking those plays, his favorite plays, what he likes, what we like. And you don't think you're going to throw a screen pass and complete it and lose, 15 yards because everybody was running backwards. So that doesn't have anything to do with the script. You got to go out and execute. It's not scripting, it's execution. And we're not executing at a high enough level. Yeah, I think as you're going into the locker room, you're making those adjustments in your head as the first half is being played, and you go in and you get what needs to be said, what's corrected, how we're going to change whatever we're doing defensively or offensively. But most of the time, guys are going to the bathroom and they're not in there anyway. So it's like there's not a heck of a lot you do at halftime, but you can make those subtle corrections quickly and get everything done. There are times when, you go into halftime and guys are just hollering and pissed off. And there was part of it in this one. And so it was really, really happy the way we made those adjustments offensively and eventually defensively.
All right, that's all for today.
There he is. Welcome back to Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com. So much being said. If I told you I chopped it up, it didn't take that long. There's a lot of great information. So I'll help you out with what some of the questions were. I'm going to read you guys' comments, and then I'll basically, I'll respond to your comments, and then I'll go into a lot of the things what Arians said. I mean, it's like listening to myself. Like, I'm not trying to sound big-headed and stuff, but it's literally the stuff I've said already. Several on my shows, on Peter's shows, and things like that. And it's just like listening to myself sometimes with some of the stuff he's saying. So let me scroll through here. All right, great win, Christopher Cole, Carlton Cook. We talked about that with the soft schedule. Will Shaw Worlds, 98%. I'm just trying to find the spot. Bear with me. Deshaun, yep, said we win, we control our destinies. Falcons are a bad team. The Vikings play spoiler. All right. Hats off to Dirk Cutter. Yep, he did what Dirk Cutter does. Whatever that is. Misador, Falcons are not a bad team. They just have a bad record. They have a few plays away from 9-5, and I think they've lost majority of their offensive line for 2 straight seasons, and they drafted 2 of them year before. They just can't cut a break. Carlton, your record tells you who you are. Bad team year this period. I mean, if you want to just black and white it like that, I get your point. You know what would be awesome if we go into the final game tied with the Saints. The Saints would have a lot of pressure on them. Yes, they would. I would say a phrase that my coaches used to say, but I'm not going to say that on air. So, yes, it would be on I'll just say things will be tight for them if it comes up to that situation with them being down. And Lord knows what the media will come out with, because it was all doom and gloom about not winning the division, getting blown out by the Saints the second game, and then the Bucs would end up winning the division. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? William Shaw, hats off to Todd Bowles. Yes, made the adjustment. I mean, he's done that all year. He's made adjustments, and that's something the Buccaneers have not been familiar with. Usually what we go in with the game plan with the first half, they go in with the game plan the second half and have a crappy record at the end of the year. Tim Witherspoon, his record is 16-14 with the Bucs. Is that a winning or losing record? His record is 16-14 with the Bucs. Is that a win? Who are you talking about, Tim? Saeed Garcia. I want the Aints in the playoffs. You got to play them a third time. Show who. I mean, if it happens, it happens. That Brady magic will happen. Make it happen. Misador, Carlton Cook. That's really not the case. You're going to tell me that the Jets are a better team than the Rams. Jets beat them, but the Rams are a far superior team. The Jets beat the Rams. That's all I got to say is the Jets beat the Rams. You're the team that gave the Jets a win and took them out of the first place contentions for the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Not saying the Rams are complete. I'll say this: the Jets were better than the Rams that day. That day they were better than the Rams, and that goes to show you again that any given Sunday you can win or you can lose. Saeed Garcia. Ooh, just a couple of them. Make sure I get to it. The Rams are the most complete team in the NFC. We're looking ahead to the Seahawks this week for the division. Bucks report. That's my point. They were looking ahead, not worrying about the Jets. And that's what they get. Gary Buff. We have no urgency in the first half. That's what Michael Strahan said. There wasn't. And I said that to Peter. I said, I can look in their eyes. They're not in it. They're still on the bus. Tim Witherspoon. Was Sparleton to Carl Cook? Oh, okay, no problem. NFL, any given Sunday. Yep, Deshaun, I see you down there. Commenting from the sidelines. Don't take anyone for granted. Yep, it's a given point right there. A team that had no business losing to the Jets. You lost to the Jets, and these guys put up stats on you. Embarrassing. Aaron Donald was hot, and I don't blame it. I want to see the video of that locker room. I know somebody's got it. And I know Aaron Donald said something. Somebody unfriended him on Facebook and Twitter off of, because it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing to get beat by that team. And you know they didn't want to win, and they still won. It's like, what is that? You ever watched that old movie, Paul Crew? What is it? Mean Machine? I'm sure I can't think of the dang movie right now. What Adam Sandler played, where he went to the Longest Yard. Where the warden was mad at the quarterback, and he said, "You're a joke." He said, "You couldn't even win a fixed game." Where he said to him, "That's the Rams couldn't beat the Jets. A game you're supposed to win, and you couldn't find a way to pull it out." That's the first thing that came to my mind when I had to look at it twice. I said, maybe my phone's wrong. Let me reload it up. The Rams really lost to the Jets? You're that guy? You gave him the one? You gave him the win? Well, whatever. Better than us. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. That's what's better than 8-5, 9-5, right? All right, so let me talk. Deshaun's in there. You might as well bring him on, because we're gonna talk about all the Arians stuff, and we'll probably just repeat the same stuff. I'm gonna repeat the same stuff anyway. So let me get him down here. I know he can go to the grocery store, in peace now down there in Georgia with all the Atlanta Falcon fans and all that. So let me get him in here real quick. There he is. Oh, should have known.
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys? What's up? Listen, you see the creamsicle working on him right now.
Yeah.
You said, look, even the 4-4s on him today, I'm showing him everything. Look, oh man, I mean, right after the game, it was so intense. I got my 3 boys, two kids that we just kind of mentor in my family, and my son. We're just 4 deep in the car. We pull up to my neighbor. He has a big cane Carso in the back, 200 pounds. Him and his wife are in there, and we just give him a proper yell, all the way from Tampa, right Raymond James. We pull right next to him, and I'm just like, Tampa, and everybody in the car is like, hey. I mean, it was big, man. It's just a great win. Listen, we get to this point in the season, you're just happy to get a win, and you really got to think about it. You listen to how Bruce Arians was saying some things. I know you were probably critical, Blake, a little bit on Sean Murphy-Bunting because there was a couple of, obviously the scores are on him, so, but I mean, with the fact of Carlton Davis going down again, I want to know who's strength and conditioning coach, because these soft tissue injuries, I know they happen, but we're not popping hamstrings. These are groins, which we could be stretching, and
that's a lingering issue too.
We can limit those type of injuries. There's certain injuries, even pectorals and stuff. Like we used to have Joe McCoy, he would rip packs and have injuries like that. Those are stretching issues where you didn't properly warm up, get enough blood in those muscles. Maybe these guys need to cup a little bit. Maybe if you guys don't know, in the comments, you see a lot of these videos, you see people with these big cups on their bodies, and they're just pulling blood into the muscles and stuff like that. Maybe they need to do that. But at this point, I'm just thinking that the team can do so much right now where we're at. We are a dangerous team coming in. Yes, playoffs are right here in our grasp this Saturday, but just as the Jets won that game, you can't take any team for granted. You got to come out and do your job. Explosive team when we're firing on all cylinders. But you know what? And I'm probably the analogy guy here in Bucs Report at this point. Just like a lot of these race cars or some LS motors or big Chevy motors, when they get that cam, they sound like they're not running. If any type of motor that any race motor or anything like that that has a cam in it, it's just like it doesn't sound like your new 19 or 20 car. It's kind of sitting there loping and chopping and doesn't sound like it's moving. But when it gets going, it's going. And you put up 31 in the second half.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing, man. I mean, it feels so good to see the team work that way. But just like a parent, if you're a parent of a team, it's like being a fan a little bit, because as we watch our Buccaneers right now, you're upset, but I feel like as a fan, you tell me, Blake, if you feel the same way. I'm a little less upset because I feel like you can. I'm more wanting you to, because you haven't done it yet. So if we're next year and I've already seen the 11-5, season out of them, now I feel bad when you don't get to the standard. But this is year one with Tom. So we're like, everything at this point, guess what, is new area for us. We haven't been here in so long. So I'm not going to get mad at this team. If we drop one of these games, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to jump ship. It's none of that. It's going to be, what can we do to get better? But I'm happy not to be worried about the drafts right now. I mean, I'll probably look at a couple of players in college anyway, but, I'm not looking at them like those Jets fans were looking at them right now, So I'm happy with that, guys. And guess what? We made a push on this team. I want to say defensively. You let me know, Blake, that pressure up the middle, we spoke about it pregame. We were not able to manifest that pressure up the middle with Todd Bowles. If you notice in the second half, I saw a lot more man. I think BA said it as well. We saw a lot more man coverage in the second half. And if you were going to get beat. There was some secondary, and I did play secondary a while, but there was some secondary issues coverage that was happening with SMB that really was getting me. And while they were between the safety, there was some communication, it seemed like. how their safety. You saw Winfield closing out on that in-cutting route that Gage caught, and then he took it back outside trying to go for the first down. It was like he didn't even close to the point that he was going to make a tackle. He kind of just was sealing more like you would do on like a punt return or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about? So I'm just like, I'd like to see him I want to see players just follow through on tackles. And that's why I think BA was saying that Jamel Dean had probably one of his best games of the season. The physicality. And I know he has, to me, that's the reason that Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis probably can be two of the best corners in the league from an overall. Jamel Dean flat out has the speed. Carlton Davis is more of a technician than what we realize. I just think early we weren't realizing what his skill set really was. To me, he's very much a Richard Sherman type of corner. Very handsy and touchy. Just think about it. He's super handsy and touchy. Richard Sherman is not necessarily a blazer. He can run, but he's not a blazer. Carlton Davis is the same thing. You know, he can run. He's just not a flat-out blazer.
A lot of the things that people didn't know about Richard Sherman was, one, his IQ is insane. That was the key part people underestimated about his game. The other part was Richard Sherman was a wide receiver for Stanford.
He knows heavy routes.
Hence why he doesn't drop. You tell me when Richard Sherman drops an interception, he high points the ball and picks it off like a wideout. Yeah. And plus on add that he's 6'3", is 6'4", with a ridiculous vertical added to the IQ. That's why he's going to be a Hall of Fame DB. Yeah. And he switched the corner. The IQ is what set him off. The way he can understand the game. You said who was the strength and core before we get past that subject. Anthony Piorli is the head strength and conditioning coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know we mentioned that a few times. I forgot to mention that was his name, but
we got to get him on. We need a conversation with him.
Yeah, it's too many soft tissue issues, especially with Mike's hamstring. This has been a couple of years now, man. What is going on with that? Is it a hereditary issue? I'm starting to think it's that.
Okay, so I could go with that if we were singled out on Mike or on specific players or even position groups, right? But I kind of feel like we see that across the board, and that's one of the things that kind of puts me in this goes back to coaching now. Look, we had those injuries with Gerald McCoy when at that point Gerald McCoy was a key cog for us, and he would get injury.
Bicep injuries, yep. He kept having a bicep. Same
bicep injury. You're wondering what's happening, and that's a stretching issue from the back tissue that I feel like once he had the first one, that should have been explored. So instead of that being negated the second injury, we wind up getting two more critical injuries where we need this guy and we're down because of that. And that's not something that we could, any team can have, much less your flagship player. I mean, you go to $1 and, he's the person that's on the side of the building. You got to have him, you got to have him on the field on game day.
Mr. Garcia was agreeing, which he said, those are facts, Deshaun. Can't get mad. It's Tom's first year. So if we win, it's all because of him. If we don't, it's because of him. I believe year two with Winston, we would have been a juggernaut of offense. I mean, we'll never know with that, but I get what your point. And Christopher Cole says, anybody think White could play outside linebacker? Peter, I told you I gave Devin White an A+ as far as a pass rusher.
I think he's a great rusher. I think he's a great rusher. I just think that he's probably, if he has to go outside, he rushes great. I think he actually rushes great from the outside. We don't do as many loop stunts.
That's a long run for a middle linebacker.
Yeah, you don't see those happen as much in the NFL. You used to back in the days. You don't really see that happening as much in the NFL right now because teams really want to set you up when they go deep. So you're not. It's not telltale, so much. So you can't have a Mike looping around the end. You're more going to see your stunts with your ends and your tackles. But that's just one of the things. If you physically saying if he physically could be out there, he's probably got to put on probably 20 pounds, I think, to make him, for tackles when they get their hands on him. Because he's fast enough for sure. But he's probably what's Shaq Barrett? I think he's got Shaq Barrett by like. Yeah,
Shaq Barrett's not a big guy. If you're asking, could he do it? Yes,
I think he could do it.
But to say that's his main job, no.
Yeah.
No. So I guess Yeah.
He can mix it up. I think he can mix it up because I think, for what they're doing with Shaq Barrett at this point, his versatility is through the roof. Like, I think right now, this has probably been another developmental year for Shaq Barrett, and he's still going to come in. I think with 2 games left, we could literally have 3 players with 10 sacks apiece between Shaq Barrett, JPP, and Devin White. And I think you said it in game day.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 guys because he's at 8 right now. I told Peter, I said, this fool has 8 sacks. 8 sacks.
Listen, and this, it's that where those delay blitz, like we're showing the blitz too. You need to be running the delay with. Oh, there you go, Misador. Misador is always on point.
He said exactly what we were thinking. White, I feel, is more of a delayed blitz rusher, kind of like a running back finds the hole and hit. That's perfect explanation, Misador. That's exactly what he's doing.
That's him. Because I was saying on Sunday, I think I messaged you. I was like, listen, if Fournette doesn't work out, we need to put White in the backfield because he was a running back, and we'll just, before he played linebacker, he was a running back. This kid's just a big athlete, man, and I feel like he can get on a horse and just roll if he needs to.
To me, it looked like Fournette got out of the game because Keon O'Neal quickly let him know. I guess he had that big hit on the screen, and then he got hit stuffed in the gap earlier, and then he was kind of out of it from that. Then the Keyshawn Vaughn came in for a little bit, but then Fournette came back later, made that huge block on Keon O'Neal. Oh my goodness!
To me, listen, I was thinking, I saw it when it happened, and he was chomping, he was talking, and listen, I've been on defense. I've been on the defense that we talk, and we chew out offensive plays. And sometimes it's a mental game out there too, guys. I mean, everybody practices, everybody laces up too, but you can really take it to another team mentally and kind of get in your head. And listen, they were just playing outside of sorts. And Keanu O'Neal, I said it before, he was going to come downhill. Those safeties, were going to be there. He came down.
Yeah, I was just telling Peter, I said, man, I knew this already. I'm just like, look at these hits he's putting on people.
Oh, he's coming.
He laid out Mike.
I was like, he get deep because of those hits, because I'm like, dude, okay, he's making all these tackles up in the front. Why are we not getting over top of him? He's playing too shallow in the box. I mean,
he is not an over the top safety.
He's not an over the top. He's really another linebacker. He's really a fit to the run game. And to be frank about it, their team is really built like our team is built defensively. Different. Obviously, we have 2 better corners on the outside. They got a young corner that's definitely going to develop into a nice NFL player at some point.
I see. He stretched that out. He is not going to do nothing. He showed you exactly what he was in that ball game against. You had a chance to guard number 1 drafted receivers, and you failed the test.
Listen, so Mike was having his way with him, and I was surprised. Now
everybody was having his. Scotty Miller stiff armed him. Are you getting stiff armed by Scotty Miller?
Okay, so hey, here's my thing with Scotty right now. I know some fans were like, "Oh, we're taking away from Scotty because we put AB in." BA said it. Listen, AB is a better blocker. He's just overall better. And listen, here's one of the main things that Scotty Miller is not. He is just speed. He is not elusive, actually. So when you look at the plays that we had, we went screens to Mike, Chris, and AB and Scotty. Every one of them was pretty much productive except for Scotty. And to me, he was one of the fastest. Now, I will say he had that catch where he laid on the ground, and then it felt like everybody yelled, "Get up!"
It looked like he was done. I was like, "Fool, get up!" Yeah. And then he almost fumbled. I looked right at Peter. I said, "If that's a fumble, I'm done with Scotty Miller."
Yeah, I mean, listen,
I'm done with Scotty Miller.
At that point, I think he was the one. He caused AB to get that deep shot because, listen, as we get closer to the playoffs, things are going to happen. I have actually, and everybody may not agree with this, and I'll see what's your take on it, Blake, because I'm going to tell you who did some things that make me think that they're actually a better player than what they were, and I know they were pressing. And I know that because we've spoken several times. I know Misador is going to know what pressing in that fashion means, and some of the other guys, and I know you know what it is too. It's Keyshawn Vaughn. When he had his opportunity, I just felt like he just wanted to show so bad what he could do that there's that split second that when you're behind the number one line, you know that block's going to open up and you have confidence in it, so you don't try to bounce it immediately outside, that you only get from being behind the number one line. When you're in the set and you run with the twos, you know how the second line blocks, and you know you have your second and a half or your 2 seconds to get from behind them, because it's going to go to the crapper. But there was that he didn't have. And the running game out of this game, I know a lot of people kind of get on Peter Blake because he's so Rojo that, but I'm like, listen, Fournette did enough in this game. And I really think that when you look at players, they are highly touted. They do have their rankings. They come in with their accolades and their accomplishments. But you have to look at sometimes their systems. And every player doesn't work in every system. And it works over different sports as well, where you just can't. I mean, baseball may be one that, because everyone's kind of standing on their own. But when you take basketball and football players and soccer players and hockey players that have to work in systems, you have to put them in the same exact system to get the same exact result. When you put them in a different system and you want the result, listen, it doesn't always work that way. This is why I think Shady looks good, because Shady's pretty much in the same system offensively that he was in last year. And
you can use my metaphor. Don't make an apple into an orange.
Yeah, trying to put squares in a circle hole.
There you go. The same thing. Don't do it. If he's not good at something, why are you going to try to make him something he's not?
But listen, hey, you guys tell me, and I know you say it in the comments, guys, and Blake, you tell me, there's a couple of times that Brady just doesn't get these passes to him. And those, I know we look at him and be like, oh, Fournette didn't make this catch.
Oh, you're talking about the little screen passes?
He screens. He's
yeah, there's been a lot of bad passes.
No one's around him. And even the last game when we were like, oh, he dropped all these screen passes, Brady's just like, it's like, dude, you got another extra second and he's not there. Like, give him something to work with. Like, you're giving him
you got to make it a good point. There was a lot of passes where he got one hand on.
Yeah,
there's one thrown over them.
He's had to do this, which he has not do. We have like Rojo, Seaman, and I know Keyshawn Vaughn can do it because I saw him, get elusive there, and I was like, oh shoot, he's about to get his wiggle on. But he was pressing too much and he didn't really get that full opportunity. But I would have to say Fournette did a little bit more in this game from being elusive. Was that?
Mr. Norris talking about? He said Brady's screen passes are business decisions. He doesn't want to get drilled. I mean, that's why we didn't say anything about those, because those were some skeptical passes on some Leonard Fournette. He can catch, but I don't think he's one hand in these things.
Yeah, you can't put him in that position. I mean, that was the only thing. You put him in a position that was not really conducive. Now, had he made those, it would have been better. And I'm sure. Obviously, I live right here in Georgia, so I'm going to give Falcon fans throughout the rest of the week, oh, this pass and this pass. And I'm like, dude, did he just not have intentional grounding in the end zone?
No, not intentional grounding. The last play, I can't wait till all 22 comes up. That last play, the fourth down, Jason Pierre-Paul.
He was getting held. He was getting held in the end zone.
Yeah, raped, mugged, everything you could think of. And it was a sack.
He was getting held a lot. And you know what? To say that JPP hasn't really been being pushed inside all the way back since he came from the New York Giants, and they were running that NASCAR set where they would be like NASCAR, and they'd have their guys just interchangeable on the line. He hasn't been really chunking down inside that much. So this game, we did try to manifest. So listen, look, when I say we're trying to get people inside, you got to think to yourselves, guys, some of the pundits and the people that we have here on Bucs Report, and also you guys as fans too, you got to be surprised at sometimes the plethora of knowledge, Leo Haggerty word there, that we get here, because Todd Bowles is doing exactly what we're talking about, trying to manifest some pressure up the middle. And he did that in several ways. He did it with White on the delayed blitz late. He tried JPP inside to manifest an interior rush. It just was non-factor in the first half. And some of that had to do with in the interior, between those two guards in that center, it is a lot more likely for you to be held and to be held in a position that's not going to get called.
Yeah,
And
Alex Mack in the center too, a decent center. They do have a good center.
And he didn't, JPP, forget the finger. When he has that arm extension, he's creating the space that defensive ends need to force you to hold them. Linemen love when you're up close because they can hold on to you and there's no issue. But when you extend the arm, and look, there were several calls too for that fact that Shaq Barrett was getting held right in front of the camera that flags didn't fly. We didn't get a flag in this game until the third quarter, I believe. So if you want to say, hey, they were letting him play, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say, hey, that's on both sides. So I'm not mad at that at all. We'll just take the win as it is. And as far as us starting fast, now we kind of already – we're kind of prepared for this. Now, this could be something that bites us in the tail later on if we're always got to be a slow team. But at this point, it's just like your kid passing at the end of the semester and they weren't passing, they pull it out. You're like, hey, shoot, summer school.
Hey, you get to move on there, buddy. Great job. You heard what Arians said. He said, like, I cut out the part where the questions to cut down it. But he was asked that. He said, so what about the slow short? Jenna Lane said, I know I've asked you this before. Mm-hmm. What can you do to, try to alleviate that? What are you trying to do? He kind of chuckles, Arians, because he said, we're trying different stuff. He said, but quite honestly, he said, I'm at this point, he said, I'm at where just stop talking about it. He said, hopefully they'll just go out and do it.
Listen, maybe you're it. Listen, it's the reason, one of the reasons I got this jersey on today. So I'm not superstitious at all. But I did have this jersey on, and I took this crap off because I was like, wait, I usually don't have a jersey on at the game or just watching. And I had the jersey on, and I was just like, wait, what the hell is going on with this offense? I'm like, let me do my part, Let's just exactly, Tim Witherspoon. That's what BA said. You guys just stop talking
about it.
That's it.
Maybe they'll go out and do it. Is at this point, you've been doing this since the Green Bay game.
But listen, Blake, this game, I felt like I saw Brady do exactly what was necessary to start fast. We just need to execute. I saw him go to the tight end. Mm-hmm. He definitely used Cameron Brate, which I was like, oh man,
came out of retirement.
Yeah, exactly. Exciting, So he was a Loch Ness monster out there catching passes this week. So you had Brate, you had the screen game that was, picking up those yards. Those hitting yards that you see out of those players, catching those little bubble screens and getting 6, 7, 8 yards and bring it to manageable third downs. Now the decision that we make on those third down is crucial. If he's on point with the pass, if he's on, and listen, if that's on Brady, then I'm going to live and die with the horse that I rode in that decision. If it's on him and he's making the third down call of whether he's going to make a short out route or something like that, we're going to go with that because guess what? At this point, we have arguably the GOAT. Prior to getting Brady, I would say, I want it to be error-based when we start talking about great quarterbacks because I feel like, as great as Tom Brady is, he's never gotten hit as much as Joe Montana has. And, one of my greatest football memories is watching Joe Montana basically get that concussion and then just come running out the tunnel and go win the game. I feel like this era of quarterbacks don't have that to deal with. They're not getting manhandled and hit the same way. But with that being said, we're in this era. So we got Tom Brady and, he's going to make some decisions. And I'm thinking that we're going to be on the plus side of those decisions. And I saw a funny meme. They were showing Tom was sitting with his head down. And they were like, yeah, when you see this happening with Tom Brady, you better watch out. And
he's focused. He's saying whatever he's got to say to himself to get ready for that. That's fine with me. Whatever you got to do. And I think Arians said that as well in the interview. He said, most of the guys are running to the bathroom and stuff at halftime, so they don't hear most of the adjustments. He said, but Tom just sat there and didn't say a word the whole halftime. He said he was just ready to come out there and make a play. He said they scored on that opening possession, but the Falcons scored back. They answered back. And then after that, they kind of started getting stops and Todd Bowles started making great adjustments and things like that. I'm trying to remember the other things they talked about in Arians' interviews. There's so much. I know we mentioned a few of them already.
Yeah, he did say that Tom really didn't say much, but he did, and almost you actually said it almost verbatim. Like we came out after that first one and we scored every drive after. Yeah. And I did think that Todd Bowles adjustments. And to be honest with you, I don't think that we can have a fan or anyone that talks about Tampa right now that could not say that, hey, we came out after half and we make such great halftime adjustments as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this point. that you got to be really confident in where we are as a halftime adjustment team, and that we're going to do, especially defensively, what needs to be done. Offensively, it's about execution. Let me ask you this, Blake, and you guys also in the chat as well. Did you have a big problem out of not having Donovan Smith this game?
I have to look at the tape and see how well Wells actually did, but he clearly did.
All 22 is not out, but two majors that I saw was it. It was a block down that he didn't clean, that block down all the way through. He kind of gave him a shove and didn't finish him. And that was a tackle for a loss or sack, if you will. And then there was one more play. I don't know if he whiffed. I think he just got beat. But two majors.
And also got one more interview to hear from. We'll talk about that as well, because we can't go without talking about Antonio Brown's big, in my opinion, the game-sealing touchdown. Let's hear from him.
Antonio, you guys as a team saw in the second half how good you guys can be, but also the frustration of how much that wasn't the case in the first half. How do you get this team to play like that and dominate like that for an entire game?
I think we just got to come out and start fast, come out with more energy. But whatever it takes to get the win. We can't make excuses. I think we could play better, and I think when we watch the tape, we'll see some things that we can improve on.
Thanks, Antonio.
All right, we'll go to Leo Haggerty.
Antonio, since you last played to now with the Buccaneers, has anything changed for a wide receiver in the game, or is it just business as usual?
It's just business as usual. The game don't change, just the players in it. As a player, if you take care of yourself, put yourself in a lot of game scenarios, have a great people around you that keep you prepped and ready for it. It's pretty much the same.
All right, we'll go over to Rick Stroud.
Antonio, when you hear the call in the huddle, I guess you had a couple guys running streaks. I mean, do you know that it's coming to you, or do you read the coverage and figure out that there's no safety help?
Well, I get excited. You got an opportunity. Call out go route, so it's a chance the ball gonna come to you, but just running to win. So I just ran to win. Decided to get an opportunity if it came to me. So I just step on the gas and put myself in a great opportunity and put my eyes back. Hopefully the ball is on the way.
All right, our last one's going to come from Jenna Lane.
Hey, Antonio. I don't know if you're able to share this with us or not, but both Coach Arians and Tom both gave you big hugs after that touchdown. Are you able to share what was said with you guys, what Coach Arians said with you, what Brady said to you, or what any of your teammates said to you after that?
I'm just grateful that these guys believe in me, giving me the opportunity to come here and be a part of the team, putting my hand in the pile to help these guys win. And they were super excited for me, and I'm super grateful for it.
There you have it. Just tuning in. It's the Sports Talk 49 live on BucksReport.com and Bucks Report Facebook every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. I think Tim said it best. He said he loved his humble touchdown celebration. He didn't do the usual Antonio Brown touchdown celebration. So I agree with that, Tim. I just think it was a relieving feeling just scoring after being out of football for almost 2 years.
Yeah, I think so, Blake. I think that, listen, this guy he's had a growing to do over the time. We've seen him. He's been around the league for a while, so we've seen him from Mr. Big Chest, from the mustache. We've seen him be flamboyant and over the top, and here in Tampa right now, he's super humble. And sometimes that players are on their second opportunity. They're they're humble. They're taken back a little bit. Kind of felt like the league was keeping him out a little bit. So he's done everything that he's supposed to do here in Tampa, and we can't be upset with the way he's playing. And it's great that he had an opportunity to go out there and put some points on the board for us.
Yep, absolutely. Tom Brady found the right coverage. Had a backup corner in there because I think Oliver had just came out.
I think that was Hall.
Yeah. Hall or Hill or whoever it was, number 44.
44, yeah, 44.
Yeah. And it was. I mean, if you look at it, just even and I'm trying to pull it up here as we're talking. If you look at it from the start, he had him beat. DB was flat-footed. DB was flat-footed, went right by him. When he's leaving. You cannot be flat-footed with a guy running full speed at you.
I think did he miss the press push? I don't know if he missed the press push or he didn't.
No, he was off. He was off on that play. He just, I don't know what he was looking at. He was flat-footed.
He looked inside. That's what happened.
Right by him.
Inside, yeah.
Trying to pull it up.
Got past him. That was it. And listen, what do you think, Blake? I'm thinking that AB has a lot more opportunities to get deep this season if Tom can connect with him. It's like we haven't seen Tom connect with anyone other than Scotty Miller, but clearly it could happen. I'm sure we'll see that play again.
Yeah, absolutely. They have plenty of go routes or 9 routes called. It's just a matter of what coverage you're getting and if your receiver has them beat. That's why they Leftwich and Arians says all the time. It all depends on what the coverage is. It's not just going to throw it for the sake of just throwing it. You obviously want to find the right guy. There it is. Pull it up. You obviously want to find the right guy and who's open and get him the ball. As much as you'll see right here, it's just buy him from the start.
Yeah.
Right here. Oh no, you're right. He was pressed. I'm thinking he was off. Yep, just beat from the start.
I think that's a technique thing too. I just have an issue with you pressing and not touching. You're going to be that close. You really just trying to battle somebody for speed. So unless you know that you have a surplus of speed on that receiver that you're covering, you need to be trying to put hands on him.
I'm trying to look again. Did he actually try to get his hands on him? No, he didn't even try.
Hands on the other side.
Yeah, he didn't even try.
Yeah, so that was the outside release.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's faster than you. You got to at least play some type of technique where you're not going to get beat vertically. Give up something underneath.
Listen, I'm guessing AB must have looked at him and said, "Oh, you're not going to try to disrespect."
Oh, it is. And he went right by him.
Yeah.
I think Brown with the outside release, he thought he was going to try to press him. He didn't. Brown just took off after that. But those are the little things in football that can get you beat deep. And speaking of DBs, which we didn't touch on, which glad you mentioned, and it struck me to remember. Talking about Sean Murphy bunting, and we were talking about that technique. Granted, the slot position is probably the hardest spot to cover. Why? Because you don't have the sideline as an extra defender. When you're in the slot, your receiver can go any direction at any given time, and that is hard covering on a 50-yard football field, and especially at the beginning of the game where they weren't getting any pressure and you're in man coverage, you're in trouble. You're not going to be able to cover a guy dragging from the right hash all the way to the left hash. It's impossible, especially with these kinds of receivers with the speed. To me, I think that's the key right there, Blake. We're talking about some receivers who their skill set is, they have a plethora of dimensions that they can really work with. They can take it deep. They do comebacks. Atlanta is known to do a lot of in-cut crossing routes. Listen, if you watch the pregame show when we talked about, listen, he went to the hash marks and he went to that outside receiver. He went exactly where we said he was going to go.
Everything that we said. Listen, at this point, what Tom Brady said last week, teams are who they are. They've already shown you their tendencies. You're not going to see many things that are going to be different. And I just felt as if Sean Murphy bunting, I know we give him a lot of flack, but let's just put a little card in his hat right now. He's one of our corners that we're moving him into multiple positions. That is super difficult. It's not as easy as people think, and it's the reason that you don't see many corners moving inside to outside. The technique and the skill base is a lot different, and that's one of the things that he's been working on both. But if you notice, when we do get Carlton and we get Jamel Dean back, he always goes back down inside. So maybe he's a better fit there, or maybe it's just situational with them being physically bigger corners on the outside.
And Tim makes a point. He said he can't cover with his back to the receiver as well, like he did on one of the touchdowns. Yep, I think it was really he lost track of him. I think he anticipated him coming inside and went right back.
Yeah, he was, and you got to look at that, and
wrong.
That right there that he's completely looking at the quarterback, and he's not even getting depth anymore. He just stopped moving. That was just a blown coverage by him.
Yep, and I tell you that all the time, DBs cannot be looking at the quarterback because for some reason it makes your feet stop moving, and the receiver is not stopping. He knows what his route is. He's going to keep going, and that's what happens sometimes with this team. But man, you said it tons of time. I said Falcons like to get chunk yarders. They're not a dink and dunk. They're not a dink and dunk team. They like to get right in that crease, right behind those linebackers. And Matt Ryan will give even just stupid play action fakes just to get the linebackers to bite and throw it right over them. That's all he kept doing all game. I said, this is getting repetitive.
Listen, it was one thing that I noticed. Well, hey, here's one thing that I noticed. Let me ask you this. As you week to week, when you show yourself to have weaknesses, teams go to exploit those. Fullbacks and linebackers. Week to week, you now start seeing running backs or fullbacks, linebackers leaking into the flats on us because our backers are so fast and they try to get into those passing lanes on coverage. Early first quarter, they're dropping those passing lanes. I thought we were going to get a pick by batting those passes down. Well, what did the Falcons do? They came back and they said, no problem. We see you getting depth on your drops. Let's go ahead and get it right underneath to these fullbacks coming out shallow for you. Put the ball in hands. Let them go pick 5 and 6 up and get us manageable yards. We don't know if you're going to miss tackles or not, but if you do, they'll take it. And, they got a lot of chunk yards, and this is week to week. This is 2 weeks in a row. I would say that we had the same type of reception being called on us if you look at the chart. And that's just something that we can't continue to do. We're going to need to get better coverage now with Luke Stalker, because early in the game when I saw Luke Stalker, I'm like, not Luke Stalker.
Not another one.
But one thing I will say is that this week, we're looking at this team, and when BA said it, I was like, oh, you know what? That outside linebacker's got the flat over there.
Yeah, he didn't drop.
He didn't drop. He rushed. And that was a blown, that was assignment blown football. And you gotta do your job. Bill Belichick in that Patriot way, it works when everybody does their job. It always works when you're bought in. And this defense is just going to have to do that to finish out and be, playoff ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of grades and all that, I wanted to go to mine, what I had here. Pull it up for you real quick. There it is. So that's why I had my to-do list for the game. So let's see how they did. Start fast. Obviously got an X because that didn't work. Convert third downs. I gave them a check mark because the second half performance was outstanding and scoring on almost every possession. Well, scored on every possession they had to. And then, of course, they won the turnover battle. It was 0-0. I'll give them the check for that. Must have 100 yards of rushing. That did not get accomplished. But the running was efficient enough to finish out the game, though. Defense, what we just talked about, Sean. Limit big plays. Killed you all game. Collapse the pocket was a failed experiment earlier in the game. It came up later with the delayed blitz. Must sack Ryan. That came later in the game, and which ultimately led to the victory. Antoine Winfield made a great play, and of course, Matt Ryan played out well in the game.
Touchdown saving play by Winfield, man. Huge play, man. Huge play. To me, he was beat. He almost undercut that route a little too short, but almost only horseshoes and hand grenades. He got close enough to bat it with the one paw. And listen, receiver even could have, depending on the receiver, some receivers reach back and they go for the ball instead of just waiting for it to drop in their lap. And we all watched it literally. If the receiver just reaches out for the ball, he's able to take that, and Winfield can't cover, can't defend.
I don't think he ever saw Winfield coming. I know what you mean. He wasn't aggressive at all. I think he really thought he was that wide open.
He thought he was that wide open.
He was that wide open, and then just Winfield just got on the horse. And
did he? He got on that horse. But listen, it is such a beautiful thing. If you look at secondary play, I mean, it's such a beautiful thing to see a safety get on their horse and get over when they're covering ground, and that they've been watching the quarterback, and the quarterback's playing games with his eyes and his head and looking away and stuff like that. And that ball comes out, and one of those safeties gets on their horse to get over. Listen, Carlton Davis did that too, where he pops off his coverage and comes back. Crafty. I think at this point, I'm looking for these defenders on the Buccaneers secondary or in the Buccaneers secondary to get a pinch more confidence. And you'll see we had it early in the season, then we get beat a little bit, and that kind of makes you timid when you go for the ball versus your coverage or going for it. But I think that if we get a little that if we bring it up just a smidgen, we'll get 1 or 2 more picks in these last 2 games. We'll get the turnover battle in these last games here.
Yep, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see more interceptions this game, but they didn't happen. They got Devin White got 3 sacks out of it. Should have been a few more sacks with some holding calls being missed in that game. Obviously, the one big one at the end of the game. Luckily, it didn't turn out to be a first down on that 4th down. I would have really been irate on that because Jason Pierre-Paul should have had a sack safety in the end zone, and he just got straight mugged, and it didn't get called. So, granted, it'd be the ball don't lie. The receiver ran a short route, and that part threw me off. I said to Peter, I said, if John Madden was broadcasting this game, he would have flipped his wig, because why are you running a route shorter than the first down marker? It doesn't make any sense. You run a route 5 yards short of the first down marker, and you got
I don't know. Like, you don't do that. Like, you need a first, but you know what? I think that's one of the byproducts of, some bad tackling in the secondary throughout the game. So you believe in your own self enough. Like, that's what happens, when you have that contract year and the player bets on themselves, and then it just doesn't work out. I thought that was one of the situations where he ran that route just 2 yards short. I'm like, are you just guaranteed you're going to get a missed tackle? Because you've been surviving off of that. But listen, even I think that just a brush of his leg was enough to bring him down anyway, and that's it.
Yep, and that is it, pretty much. What else? We covered just about everything. I'm trying to remember everything. You got anything else you want to add, Deshaun, that you saw?
Well, I mean, only thing I want to see right now is, do we have Davis up? Because I didn't see Khalil Davis, up again, and I was like,
and he wasn't on inactive. I saw.
Yeah, he was inactive, and I was like, okay, Ledbetter did a couple things. I was surprised though, because from a depth perspective, I didn't think that it would be Ledbetter over Khalil Davis, because I felt like I saw production. Did you feel as if you saw production?
Not me, not out of Ledbetter, not like we saw out of Khalil Davis, the game he played. Khalil Davis had immediate impact in that Chiefs game. Immediate impact in that Chiefs game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he got hurt again. I don't know what's going on.
So I'm thinking that Khalil Davis feels like he's a mix between. He's not Nacho. He definitely gets off the ball quicker than that. He seems to me like a Grady Jarrett / someone. I'm not sure who else, but he seems like a combination type player where sometimes I wonder about him for the run fits, but he gets through there quick enough, and he seems to chase plays down. He has effort, and there were several times there where you see Matt Ryan sitting, no pressure's getting to him, and the interior, I just see Nacho hand fighting, and I'm like,
that ain't getting it done, son.
That's not gonna get it done, son.
No.
I see Ledbetter too, and I'm like, okay, but I know where
cute,
you're at. Yeah, I know where you're at on our depth chart. So it's I'm not. And then there was a point where I saw, listen, even in the second half, here's what we went to, and you got to put, just put your mind to it. We went to our natural 2 outside defenders, where we had JPP and Shaq Barrett. In the interior, we got Will Golston and Nacho. Oh, no, Will Golston and Sue. So if that's who our pass rush, brings us down to, is Golston and Sue for the interior.
That's trouble.
When we must get there, Sue is that's not what Sue does particularly. And to be honest with you, Golston is hands down a better run defender than anything. He's not. There was a couple of times where Golston was outside. It's like he's Daquan Bowers outside. He ain't getting there.
Nope, I agree. Eric, you want to add anything to that?
No, I was. I didn't get to catch the whole game. I was watching bits and pieces of it, and I looked up. The next thing you know, it's down 17-0. I was like, oh God, here we go. I did. I had faith. I hate to see it, especially against the Falcons, but it was like deja vu all over again. I said, if there's anybody that you can have enough faith in to believe, to be able to come back down like that, it's Tom Brady against Matt Ryan. And can you you guys covered it all here. I've been listening to you guys, so I don't really have too much to add that you haven't covered. But could you just imagine being Matt Ryan? I mean, how many times is that? Could you imagine? Good grief! I mean, I feel so bad for this guy's old lady, man. His wife catches him. But the guy's a trooper. I almost feel bad for him. And Atlanta, you're a Falcons fan, or you're in Atlanta, aren't you, Sean?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and it was funny because, and I see him now. I've been seeing him all year. Diehard Falcon fans, posting these videos on YouTube. Going through the whole house, snatching plaques down, burning jerseys, and they're just like, I'm done. I don't, pick any other team. I am done. I don't know what it is. It's and I don't know. What do you guys think it is? Is it because they've had multiple coaches? They've had, they've had talent on the team. They just always the Falcons always seem to come up short. Now, does at the end of the day, and Blake talks about this all the time, you can't, give people the quarterback the credit when they win, but not when they lose. So you think it comes down to Matty Ice? Is it Matt Ryan at the end of the day? What do you think the Falcons' issue is?
Their defense has never been good. They can't close out games. That's pretty much why you have those comeback victories. Now, the offense doesn't help either, giving turnovers in some of those games and not getting first downs when you need to close out games. So it could go both ways, but Falcons defense hasn't been that stout since the year they went to the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, which unfortunately for Matt Ryan is forever be engraved as 28-3.
Listen, hey, I'm with you there, and I'll also tell you this. Here's the next part that I have on that. I think it goes down to the fact that you get teams, and I'll liken it to Tampa right now. As we got this roster, beginning of the season, people saw this roster and they immediately said Super Bowl. Anything less, it's Super Bowl or bust. And a lot of times people saw the roster and they say, you still got to put stuff together. Not one time yet has this team had 4 quarters together in a complete game that's looked or even matched up to the production that you would think that this roster could. Hasn't happened yet. Also, there's always a key couple of pieces that you haven't added. When adding, we've added everything to the extremity, and we haven't taken care of the core. And that core, to me, is going to be in the trenches. When we had Avia, we were there. We clearly got exposed that we don't have depth. We got 3-4 people from a depth perspective that can do nothing to really follow up the first act. Same thing on the offensive line. We didn't have a huge problem yesterday, which was great. But, if this is several games, I'm sure, teams will go out. The Falcons just really can't exploit us on the edge like that. But other teams, are built better than them. For the Falcons, as far as the Falcons are concerned, the team is always under what we're facing this year. They're always really thinking, hey, we have Julio, we have a run game, we have a quarterback. So every year they pick up 1 or 2 pieces and they think, oh, these are the pieces to take me over the top. And then when that doesn't happen, Eric, you have fans selling the farm. You have them burning $1,000 worth of equipment and jerseys and hats. And, hey, the good thing about it is, we're Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. We just chalk it up to it's a Bucs life for us when it doesn't work out, and we keep it going.
Yeah, that's it's one thing, to get whooped and but I mean to have all these leads, all these years and in Super Bowl, and to have these leads and be ahead, and that's the worst type of loss, when you're ahead and you got, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden it's just like, man. But I'm glad that we took care of business. I had a feeling, I really did have a feeling that we would. I thought that I thought it was going to be interesting to see what Fournette did. Because Rojo was out with was that the correct me if I'm wrong, was that COVID protocol because he had surgery or something?
No, it's just he had COVID.
No, he said he was next to somebody or something. He had to go into the COVID protocol. Hey, Eric, I'm thinking this. When you say that, at some point it becomes mental. Like you get to the point where you're winning, and look, we've had it here in Tampa. We get to the oh, what could happen now? And sure, if you start looking down, you know, tightrope walkers know about it. You can't look down. So if you start looking down, you're going to fall. So if you start looking like, you know, they're up 17 points against us, they're at home, they should be winning. And you know what? They're looking for what we could do. And the worst part about it for them is we have the guy, the catalyst. You know, we have the Tom Brady. You know, and that's it. You know, boom, Tom happens, and you know, it's a Monday morning story. You know,
who's next? Detroit, is that correct?
Yeah, I'll be having one of their draft picks come on here, and they'll talk about
awesome.
Talk about the matchup, and they'll talk about he also played for Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles, so they'll give some insight on all that. So look forward to that coming up.
They're missing Matt Stafford.
No, not Matt Stafford. I have no connections to Matt Stafford.
Yeah, he's hurt though, right?
No, I mean, when is Matt Stafford not hurt? I mean, but no, he's still playing. He's not on IR. I know he had some issues. I can't remember what it was, but I believe he's playing hurt, which most players are at this point in the season.
He's always playing hurt.
Yeah, but I think
be gone.
I expect him to play. If you're asking me, I expect him to play.
He'll play. Yeah, well, I mean, after this season, him, and then you got to think Julio too. I don't know his contract situation, but
I'm gonna say right now, Julio's traded in 2021.
Yeah. He wasn't he asking for a trade early this year when they were going through all those losses, all those comeback losses.
I know he keeps asking for pay extensions, but I don't know about the trades.
Well, he did get that contract before though, so they gave him a piece of the contract. I think he's probably at the point where he probably wants out, and I think they'll part ways mutually this year, just because you know where they. You know, because a lot of production, you know, they're getting a lot of production out of Really Engage, and they're not paying those guys like Julio's getting paid. So whenever a team can get production out of players and they don't have to pay them the same, they're gonna, you know, they'll get rid of that. I mean, there was this season they couldn't get rid of Julio. They gave a king's ransom for him with those first round picks and stuff like that. So they had to keep him a certain amount of time, but with the injuries getting on him the way that it is, it's probably best for their team to part ways with him now.
Because the Super Bowl run is over. That's why I'm saying that, and it's possibly time for Matt Ryan closely as well. I'm pulling up Julio Jones's contract that we're speaking of. So you're talking about a guy who's 31 years of age and is constantly injured. So, this is going to be tough for them. They're going to have to, they owe him. They have 3 more remaining years on his contract, which is up at 2023. He'll be 34 at the age of 34. Then his dead cap next year would be $38 million.
Oh no, so they can't get that. There's no way they can get that. He's a lifer. He's a lifer. They're going to extend him out to try to adjust that to have it soften the impact on their salary cap, and they would have to. So they're at a point right now where Julio has the Falcons over a barrel. Yeah, you know, they have to let him play out the contract.
So I don't think they would even consider it till 2022, which their only dead cap would be $15 million, and then year after that would be $7 million.
And it should go up too. The cap should go up, so that $15 million won't impact them. Probably only about half of what it would. So maybe it impacts them to the tune of $7 or $8 million, and it's more effective for them.
Yeah,
already covered it. What did you think about that? I mean, that was a critical time for AB to get his first touchdown. It was beautiful. What did you guys think about that?
Game stealing touchdown, and they never looked back at that point. Once they took the lead.
We got a couple crucial calls too. I went back and watched the highlights. There was two calls. I think the one at the end where they gave us that first down.
I think we actually got the first down. I feel like
there's no face.
It's the way that you look at it, the angle that they're showing the first down from a camera point is a bird's eye top down angle, but you're not seeing it directly in your head.
This is how it should look. But when you look at it, when they show it on the screen, I moved too close to the camera. When you show it on screen and you tilt it, it shows it as it makes it look like it's not there. But when you put it as straight up and down, they just make it.
He would be, and this is what the ref is. You got to remember, guys, The ref is on the field down, on his knee right where it's at. So he's seeing it. He's seeing the ball touching like this and saying, hey, it's a first down, while we're seeing it and we're seeing this gap because we're looking at from an angle. So,
they could have busted out the index card like the old AFC Championship Jag game.
Oh, yes, old school.
Well, they still keep. I know the ref still have an index card in there, so he clearly saw it, so he didn't pull the index card.
There's no. It was literally at the point where there was no space between the ball and a first down marker, and that's when they made the call. There wasn't even inches. It was literally at the point of a first down. That's why he didn't even pull the card out.
Yeah,
and so they did, and this is something I didn't catch. But so they did. I remember they used to have the replays when they would be a review. The ref would go into the the booth, and then they would pull the hood over them. They did away with that completely. The reviews to be able to watch it on.
They still have the ability to review it. It's just that he spotted it on the field with the bag. I saw he black bag spotted it. If you saw when Fournette went down, and then there was a video where you could see the ref actually, he moved the ball out to the farthest point that Fournette had it prior to trying to tuck it back to protect it. So the ball had gotten to that point, and then he got the spot. So, it was kind of good there.
All right, boys. Hey, you're doing a great job, guys. I get out of here. Check out mycannabiscard.com. Bucks Report, Sports Talk 49. You guys are doing an awesome job, and hope everyone's doing well. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, no problem. Merry Christmas, Eric. Yep. Hey, quick one, Blake. Quick question for you and everybody else in the chat. Does Mike Evans get to this 1,000 yards in these last two games?
He just had to get that 110 to make everybody think about it again. Had he got like 50 yards, nobody would say nothing, but he got 110 and still puts him in that reaching range, and you're playing two bad secondaries. You play Atlanta again, you play Detroit. Let's see what happens. It's
will
going
he
to
be
close.
a victim of value?
Yeah, let's get our shirts. Mike Evans, victim of volume. let's get it going. Hashtag Mike Evans, victim of volume.
I mean, everyone's saying, all I hear is, hey, Mike just wants to win. He just wants to win. I mean, he's this close, though. Would it?
He just had to get 110 yards.
If he didn't get it, it was no.
We wouldn't be talking about it. He had to get 110 yards that game to put you just right there, just to talk about it. He said,
I felt like he could have probably gotten more.
He should have scored, but Keanu Neal put the boom on him.
He let him know. That second,
he got leveled.
Make no mistake about it. I felt like he tapped that chin. You saw his helmet get that wiggle to it. I was like, oh, Mike took one right there.
I was just like, Pete, I'm like, yo, this Keanu Neal is laying that wood. I'm like, but that's why he's always injured, because he plays at 100 miles an hour.
The other safety too, the Devontae KZ that they have. Those guys are just linebackers that are fast enough to cover and they understand coverage, but they care more about coming downhill, laying the boom on you. Because between Keanu Neal, KZ, they all pretty much bring it. Jones. And listen, we face that team again. So, let's not chalk it up to, I'm glad of what type of win that was, but I feel like we'll be in their head for the next game. So, and of course the next game is at home. So we should, that should take something out of it. They got to come to our house.
And Bucks are lucky they play in a dome in Detroit. Don't have to play in the winter till the playoffs. Yes, we're talking playoffs. 98% after the win Sunday. We'll find out more. I believe everybody, I think Misa Dore and a lot of you guys said if they win against Detroit, they seal the.
Yeah, if we win on Saturday, we're definitely I think we're a lot to be in. Right now, we can win, and then hopefully we can even move up. Who would we'll talk about that on the next show. Who would you like to see? But we'll just see.
We'll leave it with that. Mike Evans, victim of volume. Yes, Peter, we're stealing your stuff. Mike Evans, victim of volume. Y'all hashtag that. You want to go on the outro here, Deshaun? Let everybody know what you got going on, or you want to save it, or whatever you want to do.
Hey, we're gonna save it. Looks like I'm gonna be coming to you guys right here on the Bucks Report. More of the same greatness that you get from every show here on the Bucks Report. I'm gonna be coming to you guys on Thursdays. The time is going to be in the evenings. We're going to reach out to you guys. We're going to have a lot of fun, go over a bunch of stats. Everything that you get out of me, you get a full hour of that on Thursdays coming up soon at a Bucks Report near you.
All right. Good to have you. I'll see you Friday, Deshaun.
No problem. Go Bucks.
There we have it. Deshaun, Eric. No, Allison, of course, she's got Pittsburgh stuff to do, so I don't blame her. She said it was lame. I said, you ain't lame doing work. You're doing work, man. You got to work. Yeah, you got your Steelers stuff coming out. There's a lot of content to put out, so don't feel bad, Allison. You're good. But that's what it is. Make sure you guys follow me on social media. I think I got a clip for you. You can win free stuff. I got to get rid of some of it. So you guys make sure you do that. Make sure you use the phrase hashtag ST49. So I know that's why you're there, and you can be entered into winning that free stuff. It's a full-size Buccaneer flag, gold coin, Doug Williams, gold coin, Mike Allstott, and a little lanyard with a coin in it as well with Jimmy Giles. So you guys do that, and I'll make sure to give those away, and I'll get your contact info and mail it out to you. I'll take care of the shipping and all that. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons. And look forward to Friday's interviews and things like that. You never know who's going to be on. Take it easy.